everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share with you a product from the Stamps of Life. This is the Sunflower Fold It, and it's going to be for sale on HSN. So if you like this product after you see it here, you'll have to hop on over to the HSN's website and you can place your order there. And it comes with these two dies here. You have your die that makes your Fold It, and you have your sunflower die, and then you have two leaves with their shadows. And this doesn't necessarily need to be a Fold It card, which again, it is an A2 size card shaped like a sunflower. You can use this on a card front. This would be a perfect size for a card front. I could also envision this in a flower pot. The Stamps of Life does sell a flower pot that you can put this in. You can use it on a scrapbook page. So there's lots of different things that you can do with this die. But I'm gonna go ahead and start making a Fold It card with you today so I can show you how that's done. I'm going to first take this particular die, and that's the largest die in the set, and I'm using a piece of banana cardstock, and I'm just going to fold this in half, and then I'm going to place my die just right along the edge of the cardstock. Actually, the die is slightly above the edge of the cardstock. And I'm going to adhere it down with some tape. So we're gonna put it there right on the edge. So you see the fold in the cardstock is slightly below the die. Tape that down and run that through my die cut machine. And when that comes out of the die cut machine, I'm just gonna remove my die. And here is my card base. So you can see how that has the fold there. Okay, so now I need to have a layering piece that goes right on top of that. So I'm gonna get another piece of banana cardstock and just run this die through just on a single layer of banana cardstock. And that's gonna be my layering piece for the top. So I went ahead and die cut that single layer of banana cardstock, and then that would just go right on top. You just gotta find the side that it goes, just like that. There we go. Because you see when you die cut this piece for their card base, it does cut off some of these points, so you need to have a layering piece to go on top of that so that it looks like a complete sunflower. All right, so next we're going to take our sunflower die, and I'm actually going to use some pattern paper, and I thought it would be neat to just put a little bit of pattern in there. So I'm going to die cut this twice, once out of the yellow pattern paper and once out of the brown with the polka dots. And this is from the Cozy Basics collection from the Stamps of Life. And the brown is actually going to be for the center. So we're going to run this through 2 times, one on each piece of pattern paper. So these are the pieces that come out with those dies. And then I'm going to take the leaf dies and I'm going to die cut these out of some kiwi cardstock. So I'm going to have those leaves out of the kiwi cardstock. And I'm going to take the shadow layers and die cut them out of the artichoke cardstock. So these will be die cut like that. And then I'm going to have these die cut on the lighter green, which is the kiwi. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up the edges of all of these. So I'm going to be using the banana ink to ink up the edges of the yellow. And this just adds some nice dimension when these edges have the ink on them. I'm going to use my chocolate ink to ink up the edges of the center. I'm going to use my kiwi ink for the kiwi cardstock. And the artichoke ink, I'm going to go ahead and put on this artichoke paper. All right, so if you were putting this together, you would just glue all of this on the shadow layer, and then obviously your leaves would be glued on, and then you can extend those out, and then you can put this on top of your card base and have a beautiful sunflower card. Now, as I'm looking at this, I'm changing my plans because I can totally foresee a shaker card in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to deviate from my plans a little bit, and I'm going to convert this to a shaker card, because I can totally see putting some shaker elements in the center of this, and that would look so cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this die and I'm going to take my banana cardstock, same color, and I die cut that die 9 times so I have all of these layers because I'm building the walls up for my shaker because the inside is where my shaker bits are going to be. So in order to build those walls up, you need to die cut multiple pieces of cardstock. And I like doing cardstock rather than just die cutting one piece of cardstock and putting foam underneath, because sometimes when you get to multiple layers of foam, the foam does not hold its shape very well and it just doesn't look as smooth as cardstock layers. So I have 9 pieces, and the reason I have the 9 pieces is because when I start building this up for my wall, I want to make sure that the pieces inside have enough room so that they can shake. So if you had your shaker bits in here, you really needed to depend on how thick or how thin your shaker elements are to see how many layers of cardstock you need to build your wall. You may not need as many as me, but I have 9 because my shaker bits are a bit thicker that I'm going to be using. So I have the 9 pieces here. Then I take this die again and I die cut a top layer. So this is going to be on top. That's going to be my actual top layer for my shaker card. And then this will be the inside. So if you wanted to do pattern paper, you can. If you did not want to do pattern paper, just die cut another one of the solid cardstock to use as your outside layer. So I'm going to go ahead and take my glue and I am going to glue flat this one of the entire pieces of cardstock. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and put this circle in. It's best to put the circle in now because as you start building it up, it might be too thick for you to try and get that circle in there. So while it has just one layer, get your circle down. See, technically this could be an actual card. You can just take that, put it on your card base, and you have a card. But we're gonna keep building these walls up because we are doing a shaker card. So for each one of these layers, I'm going to add to my card base. And the only one I'm not adding is the pattern paper. That one I'm saving. So don't add that one, and you can add all of the rest. And just line it up, make sure it's completely lined up. Okay, so I've went ahead and added all 9 of my cardstock layers. So you can see how thick that is. And now I have plenty of a wall built up here so I can add my shaker bits, and I can add some pretty thick ones because I did so many layers of cardstock. So next we're going to go ahead and add some shaker bits to the center of this. Now if you wanted to, you can put a sentiment in here. So let's say you wanted to put the word hello, then you can just put your die cut right in there before you add your shaker bits. Or if you had a solid piece of cardstock here and you wanted to stamp something onto it, you would have had to do the stamping prior to gluing this centerpiece down. But you can easily just put a sentiment on here with a die cut if you wanted to. If you don't want to, just fill up the center with some shaker bits. And then we need to put our acetate on there. So you need to get a piece of acetate. Now, if you don't have actual acetate, it's okay because you can just use your packaging. So if you have any packaging from any of your stamps, you can use that as acetate. And I'm just going to cut a piece of acetate just so that it is big enough to cover this little window here. But make sure that it doesn't have any points sticking out. So if you need to round it out, you can go ahead and do that. Just make sure there are no gaps in the acetate, because if there are, your shaker bits are gonna fall out. And that looks about good. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some glue here, and I'm just gonna add glue just around the edges here because I know that's where my acetate is going to be. Now, if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of double-sided adhesive tape just to make sure that acetate stays down, which it should stay down because I have used just the acetate before and not having had an issue with the glue. But if you just wanted that extra layer of security, you can put a little bit of tape here because it is going to be covered up. So next, all we need to do is add the top covering piece. And whether you chose cardstock or whether you chose pattern paper like I did, that's what you're gonna add now to cover that acetate. So I'm gonna go ahead and put glue on the back of my pattern paper piece. And then line that up. And I think I found after adding all of these cardstock layers that the easiest place to make sure these are lined up is this point here, where there are 3 narrow points together. That's what I've been using to eyeball mine. So you might find something a little bit better for you, but that's what I found for mine. And there is my shaker. Oh my gosh, isn't that adorable? And that was so easy just by adding those cardstock layers. So now I'm going to adhere these leaves to their shadow layer. So now I'm going to go ahead and add these leaves, and I want the leaves to be on the left side so when I open my card, they're not sticking out on the right. I want them to be on where the fold is. So I'm thinking I'm going to put them over in this spot over here. So I really just need to line them up where I think I want them to go and then glue them down. And I think that looks about nice. So I am going to just glue these down to the actual card base. And notice I'm just putting glue on half. And then we're gonna attach the entire sunflower. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up my card base so that it's laying flat. I'm gonna add glue to the back of this. So we're just lining this up, pressing that down. And there is my card. Now, if you want to add a sentiment after the fact and put one here, which I think I'm going to do, you can do so. Or you can just leave it as is. So I used the Hello die that came with the jar dies, the mason jar dies. There's several sentiments in there. And this is the perfect size. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this just right here towards the bottom. This is die cut out of the shadow layer with the white, and then the chocolate, which is the brown cardstock for the word. Isn't that adorable? I love how this card turned out. So then you open it up and you can write your message. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. If you are interested in this product, you'll need to head over to the HSN's website and do a search for the Stamps of Life. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.